Hey guys, about a 24-hour gap, so this should be a fairly normal shave. And you know what? I want to use some of the same gear that I've used recently throughout November with my Nacet blade. Well, we've reached 366 shaves with that one. So that's the one thing I'm going to put away and use something different this time. But everything else is going to be pretty familiar. And that's because I want to see, this is the feather. I want to see how this feather does with kind of the same scenario with the Nacet. This is my longest running feather. It's got 62 uses on it, it looks like. And so obviously that's probably going to be the next blade I take to 100 or try to take. You know, just because I can get a Nacet really far doesn't mean that the feather is going to be the same way. We've got the fine Santal Absolut puck in my vintage Old Spice mug. I'm going to use the same razor I've used recently with the Nacet, the B open comb, and it's a Karve Christopher Bradley. 3.25-inch handle, and it's the Gladius type of handle. This is the B10 from Zenith, and you can see it's a boar brush that doesn't have a whole lot of, obviously it's wet, and so that's why everything's clumping, but it doesn't have a whole lot of bristles in there, but it feels great on the face. It doesn't provide the same effect as a big old thick badger, but that's okay. It's got better flow through, it's got a different face feel, and I love how I'm watching those tips grow and split, and you can feel the brush and the knot change over time and get softer and softer. All right, using the normal, for me, lather bowl. And let's go ahead and put the blade in, and it was so weird because I have been keeping my Nacet in a certain place, and I just instinctively reached for the Nacet right before coming into this shave when I was gathering up all my stuff. Now I probably need to mark this feather somehow. Oh, I did. Okay. Dot and an X that marks this feather as my marathon feather. Okay, now with the feather, I don't think I have been doing the same thing as the Nacet with, you know, putting it a certain orientation in the razor. I don't think I'm doing that experiment, so I'm just going to put it in at a random top or bottom type orientation there. Just however it goes is fine. And I'm just going to, what I'm interested to see now is how different does this feather feel than the Nacet with this same setup. All right, let me rinse my face. And that is my prep, just some water. I have an oily complexion, and so perhaps that is why I don't need much of a pre-shave routine at all. Getting rid of most of the water from the brush. It's still lightly wet is what I call it. Let's do 15-second load. Ooh, 5 is right there, so we'll just jump right in. Still actually a good bit of water in there. You can see it working on the puck. And then we'll go to the 20 mark, and that should give us plenty of lather for what I need to do. And there we go. That's what the brush looks like. Obviously, it's going to look different depending on how much water you shake out of the brush. If you don't shake out enough, you may have to load for longer. Sometimes too much water can slow down the grabbing up of the soap. If you have less water in your brush, it's going to look a little more pasty, not as bubbly, that sort of thing. And if you have a lot less water in your brush, you may need to load for longer because sometimes it takes some water to be able to kind of start the soap to give up its soap, you know. All right. And we can just go ahead and start with the working of the lather. I looked and I was looking at my counts for this soap. I was going to use November and shave a lot with this puck because I'm doing some usage testing. Well, in the middle of November, it was, or at least somewhere in November, it was revealed that this very type of soap is going to be discontinued because the factory, maybe because of COVID, but the factory in Germany shut down where these pucks were being made. And so but I have been using it about every other time, and I thought it was every other time, but apparently I got some good soaps in that I shifted my allegiance to, and I only have about 10 10 or 12 shaves on this puck, in 10 in November. Let's go ahead and put 2 teaspoons in. We've definitely discovered that this soap can handle a lot of water at once. If you know how much, if you use this certain soap base over and over with the same brush, then I guarantee you, you will eventually learn how much water to add, kind of without even thinking about it. And you can, this soap can take all of it at once if you know that amount. So this is an inexpensive little plastic handle for this knot, and I think the knot bats high above the pay grade here. Definitely wouldn't mind moving this knot to a nicer handle, because I believe I'll have this knot around for the future for sure. And see, already, if you look at that surface, that usually means those peaks and turns and things like that. Even on the brush, you can see the peaks. That is definitely a sign that we are not too wet, at least for my preferences. So let's add another teaspoon. Now, if you do choose to start with a brush that has a lot more water in it than I do, obviously you may not want to add a teaspoon at a time, drops at a time. Might be the way you're able to get yours the way you like it. If you start out with more water and you're able to do more of a fine-tuning effort. But in either case, if you're using a bowl, whether you add water slowly or quickly, you can use the same visual cues for the soap to know when to stop adding water. It is winter here, and so the water I'm using is definitely cold. I do use a little bit of the warm water, and I bring that into my rinses just to bring my rinse temperature up to lukewarm or cool instead of frigid. And especially that's handy if I have a dense knot, a badger brush that has so many bristles. The warm water is much more efficient at cleaning, lukewarm even, than at cleaning the brush and make sure you get all the soap out. Sometimes it can take quite a while if the water is very, very, very cold. See, and we've put 4 teaspoons of water into this lather, just 15 seconds of loading, and you can see we have tons of lather. I was talking just today to somebody online, and they're asking me some questions about Acqua di Parma. It's not a scent profile that I kind of have on my radar. And so when I've actually tried 3 or 4 different Acqua di Parma type scents, and maybe even more, and I just didn't know that that's kind of what they were, because that's just not a one of the ones that I really look for. And I definitely haven't tried the actual cologne or original scent. And Italian citrus from this same company, fine. See that peak right there? Look at how firm he is. I can do all kinds of orientation. I can see the way he vibrates. The way he vibrates kind of quickly and returns back to where. Then I know that I can keep on pushing some water into this guy. So Italian citrus is an Acqua di Parma, we'll call it ADP, Acqua di Parma type scent. So is the Shiloh from Olio, but I think Olio changed their name, the company name. And then there's also Piacenza from Stirling. Big fan of that one. And we had a little conversation about the differences. I love Piacenza. I like Shiloh okay, but it didn't wow me. And it's definitely kind of on different spectrums. Like the Piacenza's more flavorful and spicy and rich in scent, whereas the Shiloh was pleasant and bright and kind of lemony. It just wasn't as spicy and rich. And then in between those two was the Italian citrus, at least in my mind. So I may have to, if you guys like ADP, sound off in the comments, and if you know of any other ADP scents, ADP inspired scents, mention them, and if I have them, I'll do an ADP kind of series here soon, where I compare those scents, and because I'm interested in knowing more about that profile. And look now, here's that little peak. Here's a peak. He's slower. He's not vibrating as much as the other. He's got a little bit more weight to him. And then, of course, now we see that we've generated more volume. You see how quickly it collapses. Those are some different things we can look for. Obviously, I'm feeling. Oh, look at that. That was nice. I'm feeling it with the brush as I'm moving, and so I'm actually able to tell some things about it without actually doing anything special. Wonderful soap base, and it's too bad that it's going to be discontinued, but I am going to be able to use these pucks for a while because I did stock up before they are shutting down. Now, if you also like this soap base, there's probably still time. There's probably still some vendors out there that have these soaps. Just feel free to check them out. I need to make a little quick video about vendors. I want to get a good vendor list where you guys like to buy your stuff, like Maggard Razors and Small Flower and Bull Goose, West Coast Shaving, Connaught Shaving, Gentle Shave, the Razor Company. All these are different good places to shop Stirling soap. We'll have to get a good list going, and that way people can shop around, make smart decisions. That'd be cool. Got my face wet in preparation for the lather here. Easy splay with this brush. Medium backbone. You can still feel a little bit of resistance, and so I think when the tips really start splitting and giving you that super soft feel, I think the combination of the medium backbone and those split tips are going to be one that I'm probably going to like a lot. The oils in my face often, I believe that might be the culprit, often kind of kill this first pass of lather. And so that's why God invented bowls. We just dip back in there. Get a little bit more. Give ourselves some time to work it into our skin. Not a lot of the tips have split on this brush, but it's comfortable anyway, and so I like that. I've got some Omegas that have the same problem where they don't have a lot of split tips, but the brush is not really being comfortable while you wait. So I prefer the brushes like this one because of that. Many of the Simogs are the same way, where you can enjoy them while they split. All right. So let's see how the feather feels. In over a month, I have not used another blade other than that Nacet. So this is, here we go, very different. Not really any tugging going on. Just cutting pretty cleanly, it seems. I bet I'll get a closer shave than I have in a month without worrying too much about anything. This razor clamps down very nicely. I mean, the hair is providing a little resistance. It's definitely not as sharp as it was when it was younger. But it is, okay, yeah, there's a little bit of tugging, but it's not at all, it's not like the Nacet. It's not painful. And there we go. I could be like the Nacet right here and do a little repeat work on the crumble area there with the kind of leftover lather, and now rinse. All right. For once, I'm just going to paint it on right quick and just let it go. Since this is kind of a midday lunchtime shave, not worry as much about enjoying the brush on my face as I usually do. And now here we're tiny bit of tugging, but not really at all, and a pretty much smooth cutting. So it is more comfortable than the Nacet, kind of what we expected. Seems to be doing a better job of knocking those hairs down a little more quickly. But a lot of people say feathers aren't a blade that can go the distance. And it's possible that it's a blade that they will have trouble with. But it's very possible that their technique could also be not a technique that enables the feather to go far, and they could change it if they wanted to, but you know, it's hard to tell for sure. Oh yeah, after that second pass, my face feels much smoother than when the Nacet is at the same stage. That's normal. The Nacet has, what, 6 times more uses on it? Well, I guess 5 times as many. No, it's, yeah, 6. Plenty of lather at 15 seconds, man. That is still a little bit too much. I've got maybe 3 passes of lather still left in the bowl. I don't think I'm going to need to do a touch-up pass. So this feather is still kicking butt, and I'm going to switch directions. Oh yeah, see that experience right there is different than the Nacet. That feels much cleaner. It's cutting those hairs much more efficiently and comfortably in that direction, because there is a slight against the grain aspect when I do it at that angle. Feathers can be expensive. But if you can figure out a way to get 30 uses out of one or 20 uses out of one, then all of a sudden that price doesn't really matter as much when you do the math for how long you'll be able to go with them. And rinse. Yes, shave much closer than the Nacet. We did use 5, pretty sure it was 5 teaspoons of water in the soap, and here is all that we have left. But I know I could get 2 shaves out of that, maybe 2 passes, maybe 3. Good looking lather. That's the way I like it. You may be different, and that is okay. You may like yours more rigid. If you're a straight shaver, you might prefer yours more loose than even this. All right, very good. I've got this Stirling Sharp Dressed Man Balm that I'm using up. This is the old label. And the balm definitely looks different than the newer balms I've purchased. The consistency is more milky and more liquidy instead of being as firm. So I like the scent. It's a very wearable. This is the Green Irish Tweed. Based, inspired scent. And even at this age, few years, I'm sure, this balm is still doing a good job. Well, another wonderful shave on the fine Santal Absolut puck. a few more shaves, and then I'll be able to measure its finished weight, subtract that from the start weight, and we'll see how the usage goes. It's a little less relevant now that we know those pucks aren't going to be produced anymore. However, it could be very relevant because if people knew that, you know, this puck's going to last you X amount of shaves, so this puck's going to last you a year, that might help some people to feel better about their purchases. You know, so that could be cool. If they know if they're going to be able to enjoy it for 300 shaves, then maybe the 2 pucks they bought, you know, they know they're going to just have it for a long time, and that could be nice. You know, I just thought of another reason why you may want to learn how to make blades go far. We've definitely seen cases. Historically, of course, you can see that we've got vintage blades in place, and so obviously they have come and gone, and then new ones have come around. If you have a favorite, Pole Silver comes to mind, a popular blade that has apparently been discontinued, then wouldn't it be great if you could buy, you know, the 100 pack or 200 pack, and then if you could make that 100 pack, each of those blades last 20 enjoyable shaves or 30 enjoyable shaves. I'm not talking about, you know, 3 really nice shaves and then 27 junk shaves where you're just putting up with it. I'm talking about nice enjoyable shaves for the whole 20 to 30 use duration. If you can do that, then all of a sudden that 100 pack can give you a lot more enjoyment if that blade gets discontinued. Now, odds are, sure enough, there's probably another blade going to come along that, I don't know, are new blades coming out? Are they really in development with new blades? Are the old ones, are they going to just drop off gradually, and then we'll be left with fewer and fewer choices? I don't know. All that, but I do know I've stocked up enough to where I'm in good shape. And so those of us who use one blade to go 20 or 30 shaves are definitely going to be able to easily get enough blades to last our lifetime. We don't have to worry about any kind of change in the demand or supply problems, that kind of thing. A little aside there. And here is my Old Spice friendship, I think. Is that right? Yeah. Ship friend ship. And I like this milk glass type rather than the yellower ones, at least for now. And that's just the residue. There wasn't really any liquid residue in there to pour out into the bowl, so I didn't bother doing that. As you can see, I had plenty of lather anyway. But I wanted to show you this cap. It's just a standard plastic cap. I don't think it goes for the Pringles can, but it might. And it fits exactly on this mug. So that can be of help to you if you hunt around the grocery store and find one of those, if you do use these mugs. All right, guys. Well, that's today's shave. Face feels great, nice and close, no irritation, no bad things, anything like that. Thank you so much for watching. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You guys, take care.